Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I trust you're having a great day, and greetings from Sydney, Australia, where the weather is beautiful. It's just like this image behind me. We've got blue skies, gorgeous sunshine. So I hope it's the same wherever you are today. Now, I'm just going to share my screen so that we can all go through this presentation. But first of all, my name is Chris Flynn. I am the President and CEO of the World Tourism Association for Culture and Heritage, WETAC.org. And I'm going to be presenting today on unlocking the true potential of cultural heritage tourism. Before we get into that though, I would like to sincerely thank the folks at Low Season Eco Hotel Summit for inviting me to be with you today and to present what is really quite an important topic in terms of how our industry is moving forward and what we need to continue to look at as we start to re-emerge post-COVID-19. Now, I only have 15 minutes apparently, and I've probably used half of that already. So what we're going to go through today is we're going to have a look at the numbers, because as Einstein said, without the numbers, you don't have a science. We are going to look at the impact of COVID-19. We will look at the emergence of cultural heritage tourism, some of the issues and the opportunities. The key CHT sectors, and you'll notice here that we use the term CHT, which is a common term for cultural heritage tourism. We'll look at drivers and motivators, the benefits of responsible CHT development, and again, that word responsible will keep coming up because that's the most critical aspect of this. And then we'll finish with a summary. So all that in 15 minutes. How lucky am I? So let's move forward and get right into it. Let's have a look at some numbers. So these are the numbers that were provided by UNWTO, the World Tourism Organization, in 2019. And basically it shows the growth of tourism in that year. So what we saw is that the world produced 1.5 billion international tourist arrivals in 2019. And you might think, wow, that's fantastic, great, rah, rah, rah. That was actually a 4% year-on-year change over the previous year. Now, the reason I go rah, rah, rah is because when we talk about millions and billions, they kind of sound the same, but they're not. So let's do some simple mental arithmetic to give us an idea and a mental perception of what we're talking about. If I was to take 1 million seconds away from today, I would end up with about 12 days. If I take 1 billion seconds away from today, I end up with 33 years. So when we talk about billions in terms of international visitor arrivals, you can see some of the issues that we might face. And as this report here says, that equates to 4 million arrivals a day. So let's have a look at what that looks like. And here we are again, images that we're all familiar with. This is Venice, and you can see the surge in visitor numbers over recent time has left this magnificent city completely swamped. We've seen our beaches, our towns, our villages overrun by international tourists, all wanting to see these places and to get that perfect shot. It doesn't matter where you live. If you've got the perfect shot outside of your front door, hey, what the hell, let's go and do it. Let's go and take it, like these people here in Santorini. But it's not just destinations. It's our art galleries. It's our museums, all completely overrun by visitors. So there's something wrong with this model. There's something broken. I think we all know it, and I think we've all been discussing it for some time. But luckily, to some degree, COVID-19 has enabled us to put the brake on. Of course, it's been devastating, but at least now we can take a breath. We can take a step back and look at what we need to do to improve our industry, to improve the visitor experience, and to protect some of our most precious assets moving forward. So when we look at COVID-19, As we know, the impact has been swift and devastating on our industry. We've all been impacted. With no immediate end in sight, the future is uncertain and predictable. But one thing is for sure, we will not be returning to a new normal. We'll be returning to a new abnormal. And we will transition into a completely new paradigm. How that's going to look, time will tell. But we'll be ready and we'll move forward. Because current research clearly indicates traveler intentions and motivations have and will continue to change. Trust will become a critical aspect of traveler decision-making. There'll be more focus on authenticity, immersive and aspirational experiences. People will seek to travel less, but experience more. Therefore, now is the time to plan and execute strategies that seek to welcome visitors more responsibly. And I congratulate all of you for being part of this incredible summit, because that's exactly what it's doing. Because without better planning, there is an increased risk of asset damage, destruction, or community discontent. I'll show you what I mean. This is a tomb in Egypt. And as you can see, we're all familiar with graffiti in Egypt, but this is new. This is Mandarin. This is Chinese graffiti, where someone has gone into this incredible tomb and scraped this graffiti into this relief, something that is going to be incredibly difficult to hide in the future. Last year, a British woman was arrested for stealing mosaic tiles in Pompeii. Not the first time, I have to say. Here, this was an exhibition in Pennsylvania of the terracotta warriors, and you can see on this image that there is no protection here. So because of that, somebody stepped up and thought, hey, I'll take that thumb, a souvenir, if you will. How wonderful is that? Can't be replaced. Maybe restored, but never replaced. And when it comes to respect, this is what we see. Easter Island, 3,500 kilometers away from the nearest landmass, and still people are disrespecting sacred sites, which creates community outrage, as you can imagine. So the issue is a global problem, and it's due to a lack of forward planning and tourism strategy, government resources, management and support, asset management and restrictions, visitor flow and arrival monitoring, site access and limitations, carrying capacity awareness. What do I mean by carrying capacity? Carrying capacity is knowing how much you can take before you break. And, you know, in a simple form, if I was going to the shops to buy some groceries, I would take a bag knowing that that bag was big enough to put the groceries in. It's obvious. Why don't we do that with our destinations? It's insane. Because we need community engagement on this, because if we don't have an awareness of carrying capacity, all that's going to happen is we're going to outrage our community. Therefore, they have to be part of the conversation and they have to be part of the solution. If not, we're going to get this. This is Barcelona. And again, we've seen this over the last few years. It's not new. But the question to you is, do we really want to go back? Is this what we want? And there's another question. What's the problem? Well, have a look at this. You tell me if you can see a problem with this. This is European visitor arrivals in 2017, but it's the same every year. Can you spot the problem? I think I can. I reckon it's this. The fact that for years we've been squeezing people in to a period of time in a year where the sun shines because we think that's what they want. And we'll put them all in over a period of 4 or 5 months. A couple of months, it'll just go haywire. What we don't focus on is this. This never gets a mention, or rarely gets a mention, low season or shoulder season. But there's a word for this, and that word is opportunity. And the opportunity is the development of responsible cultural heritage tourism. And the reason I say that is because for the past few years, this has been the fastest growing tourism sector on the planet. And hardly anybody knew it because it's remained largely invisible because we haven't focused on it. So what are the key drivers and motivators of cultural heritage tourism? Well, there's an increased awareness of experiences and opportunities. And, we all have Google, we've all got access to the internet. We see expanding affordable air services all over the world, taking us to new places. There's a growing desire to escape from our normal lives. And I mean this, crowds, doesn't matter what city you're in, it's all like this. There's building and chaos, traffic congestion, pollution, and all over the place. Add to that increased work stress. We're all working longer hours, usually for less. And now that we've got COVID-19, we're still in the same situation. Well, there's a growing movement now, it's been happening for a while, that says stop stressing, start living. Now, some might want a quiet beach like this, if you can find one. Some might want to escape to the wilderness. But others are seeking to find real experiences. They want to immerse themselves. They want to take themselves out of their everyday environment and learn something from something completely different to what they're used to. Some take it further, maybe tie the knot with the Maasai or others. And there's key sectors and key types of people who are looking for these experiences. Obviously, there's the adventure traveler. Youth, always looking for adventure. The backpacker, stay longer, spend more, immerse themselves in community and environment. The eco-traveler, seeking pristine environments that they can seek out and cherish. Special interest traveler, that's me. People who like to go to archaeological digs and dig things up. Education, my daughter's school has a program on the curriculum where they connect with local cultures in the Pacific Islands. And what they do after that is they go and visit them. How incredible is that? The incentive market is also a growing sector because more and more we're finding senior executives being invited or going to places where they can immerse themselves into small communities, where they can learn from the elders, from the wisdom of the elders in these communities. And we also have the conscious traveler, those who'll spend a little bit more, but will leave only footprints in the sand, as they say. But with the onset of the current pandemic, there's another traveler, the pandemic traveler, the people who are going to emerge post-COVID-19. They're going to be looking for history, art, native science and beliefs, unique lifestyle, local heritage, customs and traditions, adventure, the uniqueness of people. I love that. Unspoiled environments, and a word we see thrown around quite a lot these days, but this is true, authenticity, keeping it real, not manufactured. In a recent study by Review Tracker, this was 2016, it said that 69% of global travelers plan to travel or do something new that year. They wanted culture and adventure. But it's not just Review Tracker. It's everywhere you look. Top Deck, 32,000 people, 134 countries. Number one thing they want to do? Culture experience. Asian millennials, the number two thing they wanted to do, 31%, be a cultural explorer. And every report you see, history, heritage, culture, 38%, 32%, culture and people, local history, it's everywhere, everywhere. In fact, UNWTO state that 47% of travelers have a cultural component to their itineraries. Now, if we go back to what I was speaking about on those numbers before with that 4% growth and that 1.5 billion people, that equates to 705 million people right now, who are cultural heritage travelers. That creates opportunity, but you can imagine the impact that will have if it's not managed correctly. So, to grow responsible cultural heritage tourism, it requires effective planning and long-term strategies. Your carrying capacity study is a first, it's a must. A need for greater government, industry, and community engagement. More equitable spread of visitors, 365 days in a year. Improved collaboration between key stakeholder groups. Better sharing of research information. Now, if we do all of that, what it's going to deliver is better preservation and restoration of our cultural heritage assets, greater visitor dispersal, promotion of environmental protections, revival of traditional arts and crafts, increased employment, improvements in economic sustainability, and most important, it will encourage cultural pride. Because what we're talking about here, ultimately, is respecting our sacred sites, celebrating our history and heritage, protecting our unique environments, and preserving our cultural ancestry. And tourism should be the ambassador. Tourism should be the protector and the preserver of our cultural heritage assets. So I hope you join us and our team at WETAC in our journey moving forward. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your summit.